What do washing the dishes, having sex, and reading a bedtime story to a young child have in common? They're all activities, labour and work that we can understand to be reproductive. By reproductive, I mean the work of making and remaking people. Most people associate reproduction with having babies, with biological reproduction. Having babies is certainly part of reproduction. But when we speak of reproduction, and specifically reproductive labour, we're referring to a lot more than that. Reproductive work is all the work that we do that makes and remakes people on both a daily basis and also intergenerationally. And like most work under capitalism, it's work that involves conflict, violence and exploitation. One of the main reasons that reproduction involves so much conflict is that when we produce and reproduce people, we don't do so in a neutral or abstract way. Under capitalism, we reproduce human beings as labour power, or as potential labour power. We reproduce people as workers. In a similar vein, if we understand gender, race and sexuality to be social constructions rather than inherently biological characteristics, then to a large degree we become the subjects we know ourselves and others to be through washing the dishes, having sex or not having sex, going to school, not going to university, caring for others and being cared for. From this perspective, then reproduction involves a whole lot of fucked up relationships and processes that are central to the reproduction of capitalism as a system of exploitation and domination. In this instance, reproduction seems and is very much part of the problem. That reproduction is part of the problem is especially true when we look at the history of reproduction and who it is that does the vast amount of cooking, cleaning and caring in the world. Reproductive work has been devalued, made invisible and feminized. In the history of our reproduction, it is women who have been and are the reproductive workers of capitalism. Of course, while this work has always been gendered, it has also always been racialized and classed. Rich women have rarely done their own dishes, cared for their own children, or even fucked their own husbands. It is working class women and women of colour who've done this work, and who continue to do so. Reproduction has a long history, a history that is as important and as profitable to capitalism as the development of the factory system and commodity production. However, reproduction has a dual characteristic, which is to say that at the same time that reproductive labour produces and reproduces the capitalist system, it also produces life and reproduces autonomous human subjects. Subjects who are capable of creating radical revolutionary change. We may be workers, but we are not reducible to the role of worker. So to put it plainly, without reproductive labour there is no exiting capitalism. And if our desire is to exit capitalism, and we wish to do so as quickly as possible, we need an exit strategy that pays as much attention as possible to the history of how the wage and gender have been produced, and to the systems of colonialism and slavery, and the construction of the ecological world as a resource to plunder and exploit. To pay attention to all these things, it is necessary to bring reproduction centre stage. It is from this perspective that we can confidently claim that we need to seize the means of reproduction and to bring the struggles, the conflicts and the painful tensions and contradictions of reproduction to the centre of our plans to exit capitalism.